Hello, my name's Linda. I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. I'm making a double gatefold Christmas card today, and I'm using Trimming the Town Designer Series paper. This is a beautiful sheet. I'm not actually using this one today, but I think this card will work really well with this one. I'm going to be using this design today. I'm also using some of this. We're going to be fussy cutting some houses from that one. And this one we're going to be fussy cutting. So the idea of this card is that we're making the whole card using just the paper, and I'm not using any dies, although you can get dies to cut these out. You can actually fussy cut them as well, so if you don't have the dies you can still make this card just with the paper. And there's also this really lovely paper that has lots of sentiments on it, so we're going to be cutting some of those out as well. So let's just put these to one side. I've actually started with one piece of A4 Whisper White, and this is the thick cardstock, and I've just cut that in half, and that is 14.9 centimetres down, and cut that in half. So you'd cut it along there, cut it in half, and this is going to be our card base. So we're just going to score at 10.5, and that is just a normal card base. I'm going to do exactly the same with the second one, so score that at 10.5 centimetres. I'm working in centimetres today, and then we want to do some more scoring on our card base. So I want to score at about 5, it's about 5.2, but actually if you can just go a little bit over, so you're in the middle of 5.2 and 5.3, and we're going to score again just on one side. I'm going to do exactly the same on the other, and so we have a score line there, a score line there. You've got exactly the same on the other piece. While the scoreboard is out, we might as well do some cutting as well. So this is the design I've chosen from the Trimming the Town Design Series paper, and it comes in 12 by 12 sheets. So this is an actual 12 inches across here, and I've cut this at 14.4 centimetres. So this is going to go onto our card. It's going to layer onto the card, and we need to score this at, no, we need to cut this at 4.8 centimetres. So we're cutting, and then I'm going to do that again, another 4.8. So then we've got two pieces, and they also sort of join up. The next one, we're going to score this at 10. We're going to cut this at 10. We are cutting, we are not scoring. Ignore the scoring, we are cutting. There we go. And then we're going to do 4.8 again. And 4.8 again. So you have this piece left over, and this is what you should be left with, and this is going to be the background to our card, and we're going to be layering on to our card like this. You may need to adjust it slightly depending on where you've got your score line here. So let's do some burnishing now. So we want to just fold and burnish our cards just the same way you would normally. So we've just now got two normal cards, and then we have our little extra pieces, and we're going to fold those and burnish them. Same with the other one. So we've done our burnishing, so we've got these little bits poking up here, and then we're going to put one of these on top of the other, and then we are going to glue them together. You may need to just cut a sliver off one of these edges just so they fit on nicely. Actually mine fit on okay, but if it was going to be poking over a little bit, not fitting nicely, you could just cut a sliver off. I'm just going to use wet glue and then stick these down. So I'm going to put wet glue on here. And then stick these down. Make sure that your card is still going to fold, so you've not covered your score line. So I can actually see that mine is a little bit too tall, so at this stage I can cut that bit off, which is what I'm going to do next. I'll just cut that tiny sliver off the top of my card, so that's all nice and neat. I'm going to bring these pieces back in that we cut, and I'm just going to stick these onto the inside of my card. And as you see, I've got them all as they were cut, so they all sort of match up, all joined together. So I'm just sticking those on with some wet glue. Okay, so I've stuck all of my pieces on. It's going to be like this. Already looking quite nice, and that has been super easy so far. Here's some of the pieces that I have been cutting out. So some of the little tiny houses, I fussy cut these from one of the papers, and these ones I have actually used the dies because I do have them, but you could just as easily fussy cut these. They're not hard to cut round. And I've done some trees as well, so I've die cut these. Again, you can fussy cut them. I've fussy cut this tiny tree which came from the same paper as these little tiny houses. And then I've chosen 3 different sentiments, and I've fussy cut those out as well. So if you are fussy cutting and you fussy cut your large house, because we do need one of these large ones, we need 1 large one and 2 of these tall skinny ones. These ones you can choose whatever you want because they're just for decoration. I've also die cut a white piece for the back of my house. But if you're fussy cutting, what you need to do is cut your house out roughly, just all around the edge, stick it to a piece of white cardstock and then cut it out, and then you will have a nice white background. And the reason is we want this house, it's going to be overlapping, so it's going to be over like this, and you want that side to be nice looking, and it also gives it a little bit more stability, so it makes it a little bit firmer. So I'm going to stick these together. I'm just using a little bit of wet glue, and you don't need to do this with any of the others, just this one, because it is going to be, as I said, over the it's going to be over the gatefold. And there you go, it goes together, very simple. So this is something I've die cut. So I have die cut a circle. I've used the one of the stitch shapes. You could cut a circle, or you could cut just a white square of paper. And I'm actually going to just decorate this a little bit. So I've decided to put a couple of little tiny houses at the bottom with one of the little trees. I'm just going to glue these down, and then one of the sentiments up the top here. So I'm just going to stick this down. I've stuck this all down, and I also have done another die cut, and I've used Old Olive, which is the colour that is actually in the design series paper, and I've cut one of the layering circles. I'm going to stick that on the back. Again, that's something you wouldn't need to do if you don't have the layering circles or anything similar. You could just cut a square with Whisper White and a slightly larger square with Old Olive, and it will have the same effect. Too much talking, not concentrating on what I'm doing. I'm actually going to stick this in the centre of the back of the card, and I'm going to continue my decoration. So I'm going to put this one on this side, and I have my green, well, it doesn't matter what colour you use actually, but in my case I'm having my green tall house there. I'm going to pop my larger house here, and the tree is going to be on the house as well. So I'm going to start by sticking this one down. So I'm putting it on the outside flap, so it's going to be the flap that you can see when you take the card out of the envelope. put too much glue there. You can see it bubbling up. I do tell my ladies not to use too much glue, and I've done it. So the other tool house, I've put that one quite close to the bottom. This one I want to be a little bit higher because I want to see it peeking out from behind the sort of bungalow there. So I'm going to stick this one on, but obviously we only need to put glue on half of the house or the bungalow. So if it closes up, decide where you want it to be and only put glue on that side of the back of this bit. So only on that half, then flip it over and stick that down. So make sure nothing on that side. When our card closes up, you can then decide where you want your tree to be. I'm going to pop my tree here on the end of the bungalow, and so it's going to be like this. I'm going to pop another one of my sentiments that I've cut out from the design series paper across the top of the tree, top of the house, not a tree. This is my all-time favourite Christmas set. I just love it. I'm struggling to use my others at the moment, so I'm going to use this one for a little while and then I'm going to move on. There we go. So ignore the big bubble that I've put there. Don't do that. And that's what the front of the card's going to be like. So on the back of the card, so we're going to need somewhere to write our message. I've cut another piece of the design series paper, and I've cut that at 10 centimetres by 14.4, and I'm going to stick that on the back. And then I've used the stitched rectangle dies, and I'm going to put that on the top, and that is where we're going to write our message. Again, if you don't have dies, you can just cut a rectangle out of whispered white paper. And I'm just going to pop that here. And then I have one of the trees that I've die cut out, or you can fussy cut out. Just going to pop that at the bottom. And then I have my last sentiment that I'm going to put on in the middle. There we go, and that's where we can put our message. And card is actually finished. So it opens like this. It will fold to go into your envelope, and it will stand like so. And it's actually quite an easy card to put together. And no stamping, just die cutting or fussy cutting. There we go. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please give me a thumbs up if you did, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thanks for watching. Bye.